Hey guys, girls, YouTube, what is up? My name is Cushy Kush, and I'm going to be looking at the newest Master Duel update. First thing I notice is that when I log in, I get a free pack, and I guess, nothing good out of that, but I guess you get some gems. It's only 100, it's not a big deal, but free stuff is always a good thing in my opinion. There's a new solo mode for Alley of Justice, that's kind of cool. There's a tryout duel, you duel 3 times, you get a free pack, okay. And a new forbidden and limited list. White Dragon Wyvern Buster is now unbanned, it's limited to 1. That boosts up Chaos decks, it also boosts up Dragons. It's a really powerful card when paired up with Collapsed Dragon Serpent, which is the dark counterpart. Other cards, which you can now run 3 of. So yugioh Skull Dread. That's like a Link 4, I think. Kind of cool. I think there were some loops where you just keep drawing 4 cards and all that. And Bestial Druis Worm. You can run 3 of that. That's a pretty powerful card. Okay. Besides that, let's look at the newest pack in the shop. It is called Advance of the Great Force, and as you may notice, Ancient Gear monster on the front. It's a machine monster from the GX era of Yu-Gi-Oh! Gonna be looking at all the new cards. There are, whoa, the Genx one is here. Okay, that I want to talk about that, but when we get to it. There's some other things. I don't know what this is. It's an insect. Cool. We'll look at it in a bit. There's a lot of new stuff in here, huh? Lightsworn support. Cool. Let's see, what about the rares and normals? Because those cards are actually pretty important too for the budget players. I don't see too many generic stuff. I do see some nice new stuff like Right Lord. Next up, there's another selection pack, but this one looks like it's just not new cards, but reprints. And looking at all the new cards included, there is not a single one. It's just reprints. Why isn't this a secret pack? Overall, C pack. Yeah, it has some good cards in it, but I don't like packs that make you require to go into worse packs in order to get like 1 copy of a card that you might need. So pass on that. Next up, a secret pack, and this is for Runic. Okay, any new cards in here? Not even a single one, sadly. So is this pack worth it? Only if you want Runics. Runics, I still see some people play them. They're not the worst deck in the world. They're kind of viable, but they are definitely nerfed. When they get removed off the ban list, whenever that is, yeah, I would definitely recommend this more. It's like a B pack. It's better than the other one for sure. And we get 1 free pack, unlike the other one. Anything good? Unchained card. That's kind of good. Oh, okay, cool. What else? There is a new secret pack. Let's see what's in this one. Any new cards? No new cards. Okay. All in all, it's a pretty small pack. It doesn't consist of too many cards, so you might pull the cards that you want. The cards that are included are mainly just Visas, Madomium, just like stuff that like works well in the archetype. It seems pretty good. I'd rate this also a B. This seems like a pack that I would go into. I don't know if it has all of the Visa Starfrost cards that you would want, but it has a majority of them, and that seems pretty nice. I like this pack. I like it a lot, but not too much. Besides that, there is a new field spell. Oh, that is pretty. I don't like the flowers, but I do like the green. I like it a lot. It's very, very nice in my opinion. Besides that, you got a background. Don't really care about these that much, but if, I mean, you love Ancient Gears, you're probably going to love this. Final Jester, that I don't care about that much either. New sleeve, it's the new insect monster. Okay, is it, maybe it's really good. A new profile picture, it's just like a weird skull. Okay, it's mid. Let's look at the newest pack. That is Advance of the Great Fortress. I'm going to be looking at each individual card. Feel free to just skip if you want to see. I'm going to be starting ultra, super rare, all the way down to common. So for it being a new Aroma card is pretty nice. It adds something when it's linked. It's a link 3, but you can just use 2 monsters, so including a link 2 plant. It can banish a card on the field, which is kind of nice by tributing a card that it points to, and it special summons monsters from your hand, specifically Aroma monsters. I don't like that too much because it's like, bro, when are you going to have like so many monsters in your hand that you can utilize this? It seems like a fun card. It's not a competitive card in the slightest. It's a link 1 that can be made using any level 4 lower Genx monster. Genx specifically have a bunch of monsters that say, hey, when you normal summon this, add something. And this card, funny enough, says that when it's link summoned, you can add whatever monster you use in your graveyard or any other Genx in your graveyard back to your hand. And whenever you add a Genx to your hand, you can just normal summon it. And I'm pretty sure that effect like works multiple times. So if you normal summon a monster that says, hey, add something, you normal summon that monster, says, hey, add something, then you normal summon that monster and it says, add something, you know, it just keeps going. This card's kind of insane. It leads to a lot of loops. It leads to a lot of people playing solitaire and just spending 5 minutes on their turns. I'm excited to see if I pull one, and I'm excited to see what other people come up with. So it is a Link 5, but it only requires 2 plus insect, plant, or reptile monsters. If a monster is special summoned from your opponent's deck or extra deck, mainly from the extra deck, you can destroy 2 monsters on the field. In some scenarios, it's going to be this card and the opponent's card, but if your opponent has multiple monsters, you're going to want to destroy their monsters. Also has a graveyard effect where it just comes back by placing 1 insect, plant, or reptile from your field to the bottom of your deck. It's cool. It's like a boss. I mean, it's a new addition. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's just like, it feels like, I feel like it should do more. I feel like it really should do more. It feels a little bit lackluster, sadly. All right, Genx synchros kind of suck, but this one doesn't. It can negate an opponent's monster effect based off like the attribute that you have in your graveyard if it matches your attribute they have on their field. And you can do it for like if they have a fire, if they have a wind, maybe you're playing against Kashtira. And then it has like a graveyard effect where you can shuffle your banished Genx or the ones in the graveyard and destroy spell traps on the field. Cool effect. It's not super powerful, but it is a negate, and it's a nice new upgrade to the Genx arsenal, because the Link 1 does lock you into Genx synchros. Alright, next up is Enlightenment Dragon. It's a fusion 10 that requires Judgment Dragon and Punishment Dragon. You don't need to use Poly, but you need both Judgment Dragon and Punishment Dragon either on your field or in the graveyard. So interesting requirements, but I like that it doesn't need polymerization. The main point of this card is a quick effect, pay 2,000 life points, banish all other cards in the field and in the graveyard, and if it's destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon both the materials used to make this back on the field. Very, very cool. It's powerful. It's very powerful. I am curious to see what strategies will utilize this outside of Lightsworms, because I feel like it could be used in some generic strategies as just a very powerful boss monster that you can cheese out. So Aroma Lilith Rosalina is the newest Aroma monster into the game, and it is an ultra rare, rightly so. 0 attack, 0 defense. Interesting stats, but it could be utilized in certain strategies. It's a plant tuner, and when it's normal or special summoned, you can special summon a non-tuner Aromage monster from your deck. But you can only special summon plants. It has a hand effect, which just makes you gain a little bit of life points. Mainly, you're going to be using it for that, getting another monster on the field, so that you can maybe go into a Link or something, synchro play, I'm not sure. So Ancient Gear Dark Golem is the newest Ancient Gear monster. It is a level 8, 3000 attack, 3000 defense. It becomes Ancient Gear Golem. That's important for fusions in that archetype while it's on the field or in the graveyard. When it's normal or special, you get to add 2 cards, either the field spell Gear Town, which when it's destroyed, you can special summon Ancient Gear from your deck, or just Ancient Gear cards. It doesn't have to be a monster. Quite powerful. It does give you the restriction where you then have to discard a card and you can't set cards for the rest of the turn. So it's an all-in strategy. Mainly you're going to utilize hand traps to try to stay alive, because you're not going to be able to rely on traps, if anybody even does that anymore. Also, when it attacks, your opponent can activate spell traps, but battle traps aren't really popular in the game, so it is a good card because it gets a search off. I can see why it's an ultra rare. So this card has a lot of good versatility because it can special summon itself from the hand using a variety of different types, and it also adds 2 cards that are either banished or in your deck. With them being banished is important because of the next part, because you have to then banish a card in your hand. It can be any card, even cards that benefit off of being banished, which is what I'm going to be looking at if I ever get all the cards for this archetype. So it is an interesting card for sure. Dude, this card's amazing. This card like hits everything. Special summon from the hand. When it's special summoned, you can send, there's some Lightsworms, Wolf, and this other girl. When they're sent to the graveyard by monster effect, you can just special summon them. It's not a tuner, but it is a level 4, so you can go into the rank 4 Lightsworm, and when it's sent to the graveyard, regardless of how it's sent, you just get an add. That is really powerful, actually. I like that card a lot, and it's just a plain dragon. It seems kind of pathetic, but it does do something quite well. It special summons itself on the field if your opponent controls a monster more than you do. You contribute it, special summon an Ancient Gear Golem, or a card that mentions it. There are a couple cards that mention Ancient Gear Golems, including cards that add multiple cards. So you can, in theory, special summon Gear Statue, then go into Dark Golem, get a bunch of searches, maybe go into Fusion, and the duel that one turn. The Black Goat Laugh seems pretty powerful because it stops your opponent from summoning one monster specifically. And you can use it even in your graveyard, so I guess it gets 2 uses even though it's a normal trap. I like it. I like it a lot. It's not extremely powerful. I don't know if it's going to be meta defining, but it is a scary card that if your opponent plays it well, they can just stop you from playing the game entirely. Ragnarok Skeletal Soldier is a link too that I really like. It requires two monsters. One of them can be whatever, and the other one has to be an insect, plant, or reptile. I'm thinking that you would use tokens to summon this out the easiest way, and there are some good insect token generators. If this card's in your graveyard, you can just bring it back by placing an insect, plant, or reptile you control to the bottom of the deck. And this card has just target a Ragnarok monster in your graveyard, special summon, and defense. Mainly it says a defense part because you can't just bring back a link because links can't be in defense. I like it a lot. It locks you into the respective archetype of insect, plant, and reptile, but it's very powerful for that archetype. A common theme I'm noticing for these Ragnarok cards is that they come back from the graveyard by placing an insect, plant, or reptile from your field to the bottom of the deck. That's a good effect. This on-field effect is kind of mediocre in my opinion. You banish 2 insect, plant, or reptiles from your graveyard and you add 1 trap. You need materials in your graveyard to banish. Maybe if the things that you banish do something. The only one I can think of is Resonance Insect, which is when it's banished, you can send a level 5 or higher insect from your deck to the graveyard. There might be some other strategies that incorporate being banished. So it stops hand effects. It's a link fork, a little bit hard to make, but that could be a possibly extremely powerful effect because a lot of monsters activate their effects in the hand, whether it be Maxi, Ash Blossom, Effect Veiler, even Snake Eyes Poplar. Next up is Manura, the Anthean Lightsworn. This is a Synchro 8. It's generic. Lightsworn monsters you control cannot be banished by card effects. That's important because the fusion Lightsworn monster that's just being released banishes all other cards in the graveyard and in the field, so this kind of prevents that, which is nice. Aroma Lilith Magnolia is a beautiful, and I mean beautiful, looking fusion plant monster. It's not incredibly powerful. It does stop your plant monsters from being destroyed by opponent's card effects if you have higher life points. And if you have the face-up continuous spell or continuous traps, you can pay 2,000 life points and banish pretty much up to 3 cards. I guess you can banish more if you have multiple on your field, but I don't know why you would. IAS, Invasion Alien Species, is a cool new reptile monster that's best utilized when your opponent has a field spell. Not most opponents run field spells, but if they do, this card can special summon itself back from the graveyard, destroy an opponent's monster, and it can be destroyed by battle or card effects. But only if your opponent has a field spell. It's a weird gimmick, but it's cool. It's a cool card. No way. Asset Montes, dude, look at this GigaChad of a card. It special summons itself from the hand if your opponent has a level 6 or lower monster, which is nice because it's a level 7. It has effect where it changes the battle position and a tribute of all your insects to this card, which is a light. And then if it's destroyed, even if it's destroyed by your own card effects, you can add a level 8 or higher insect from your deck to your hand. I don't immediately know the strategies which can utilize this, but it can be abused because it can be destroyed by your own effects. It's a free special summon from the hand, and for some reason it works with some of the insects when they change battle position. It's an interesting card to say the least. Ancient Gear Commander is weird because it heavily relies around Ancient Gear Golem. It can special summon an Ancient Gear Golem from your graveyard if you special summon one. It sends one from your deck to the graveyard and it gives you an additional normal, and then it has like an effect where you can place an Ancient Gear continuous trap from your hand face up on your field. I don't really know the Ancient Gear traps. I think there's only one that comes to the top of my head. It's like a Monster Reborn card. So this just seems essentially like a Foolish Burial Monster Reborn like extreme card. Wait, this is like Sir of the Burning Abyss. It special summons itself from the hand. Whatever you put on top of the deck to special summon this guy, you mill it. So whether that be a wolf or a Fenrir, you special summon it back. And then it's a Sir from the Burning Abyss because when it's sent to the graveyard, you special summon a Lightsworn from your graveyard. That is incredible. This is an amazing card. I'm surprised it's not an ultra rare. I'm glad it's not. It's even a tuner. Like, damn. It's a cool card. Very cool card. It gets you a search and it comes back. I like it. Ancient Gear Dragon is good in Ancient Gears. It's only good though if you run Ancient Gear Golem, because you can send it directly from your deck and negate an opponent's spell or trap. It cannot be special summoned though, but you can normal summon it if you control no monsters or if all monsters you control are Earth Machine. It is cool. It's a negate. Ragnarok Wicked Butterfly. Holy beautiful. That looks cool. Look at the wings. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. You discard this card, special summon any one insect, plant, or reptile from your hand. That's an amazing effect. And if it's banished from your hand or graveyard, you can draw cards during your end phase, essentially up to 3, based off the different type of monsters you control. Insect, plant, or reptile. Least, you'll draw 1. Most, you'll draw 3. It's a free special from the hand. It's beautiful. These stats are decent. That's A+. A+ card. Ancient Gear Advance is a continuous spell. It's very powerful because it searches for an Ancient Gear spell or trap, and then you can just tribute a monster and draw a card, and then it lets you normal summon an Ancient Gear level 5 or higher that mentions it without tributing. That's bonkers, mate. Downside is that you can't set cards, but there is a card that allows you to play traps from your hand, which is Commander. So you do have a little bit of synergy in Ancient Gear archetype, and it did get more powerful. Ragnarok Bloom is a continuous spell card. Insect, plant, and reptiles on the field gain 300 attack and defense. Also, all other monsters on the field lose 300 attack and defense. That's good. I like stuff like that. And it's continuous spell, so every single turn you can either add a Ragnarok from your deck to your hand, then discard one card. It can be any card. Or you could special summon Ragnarika monster from your hand, graveyard, or banishment in defense. So, yo, this is cool. Good card. Hagard Lizard Dose is a generic Link 2 that technically can banish itself, and you target an opponent's monster. Its attack becomes this guy's attack, and then you draw one. That's the only thing I see good about it. It's weird. It's really weird. It's essentially just a draw one. So, it's whatever. Our Genx Undyne essentially can become any attribute of the Genx in your graveyard. It can also become a tuner. It's a level 4. It has okay stats. And if you control a Genx Synchro and this card's in your graveyard, you can add this card and another Genx monster from your graveyard to your hand. But then all your cards into your graveyard are banished for the rest of the turn. It's a pretty like rough effect where they get banished for the rest of the turn. Usually you'll do that at the end of your combo. But even if your cards get banished, I'm pretty sure the main boss synchro that came out can just shuffle them back in the deck. Ancient Gear Tanker is special summon an Ancient Gear from your hand or one from the graveyard if your opponent controls a monster. It also boosts up attack, which might come up in the OTKs, but generally I think it's going to be a 3-of just because you get 2 monsters on the field, this one including another one. Ragnarika Samurai Beetle has a really badass picture. I mean, just look at that. That looks so cool. It also special summons itself from the hand by recycling your banished cards and putting them in the bottom of the deck. And if it's sent to the graveyard from a link summon, you can special summon a level 4 or lower insect, plant, or reptile. It doesn't have to be a Ragnarika, so that's pretty nice. Starry Dragon Circle is mediocre, but it is good if you target an opponent's fusion synchro XYZ or link because you set it back into the extra deck, and then you can special summon from either player's graveyard based off what you sent. It's pretty weak in the fact that it's not a continuous card, so you only get one-time use. It doesn't even have a graveyard effect. It's a hard pass for me. Ancient Gear Duel is a continuous trap card that does make your Ancient Gear Golem unaffected by opponent's monster effects. Not sure how useful that's going to be, but it also gives you a fusion summon only if your opponent controls a monster. That fusion summon can attack 3 times, so it's just going to end the duel. It is interesting, maybe a 1-of, and you search it out and it just gets your plays going when you're going turn 2. It might be an actual powerful card in Ancient Gear archetype. Ragnarika Hunting Dance. I think this is the first searchable Ragnarika trap card, right? I don't think there is another one. There is not. So there's a lot of hopes running on this one card, and it's not that good. You can destroy cards your opponent controls based off the type of monsters you have that are links. Insect, plant, or reptile, and then if your insect, plant, or reptile is destroyed, you can destroy one monster your opponent controls. It's pretty mediocre, in my opinion. Lightsworn Aegis is a normal trap card. Target face-up card your opponent controls up to the number of Lightsworn monsters you control. Negate their effect. It just says face-up cards. You can negate an opponent's spell card. You can negate an opponent's trap card. Dude, what? When it's sent to the graveyard, you set it? Lightsworm's just got a really powerful trap card. Is this a 3-of or a 1-of? You let me know. Dude, this is amazing. Raga Seline Snapper. Banish 2 monsters in your graveyard. Destroy spell or traps your opponent controls. It's a normal card. It's a link 3. The stats aren't that bad. The arrows are decent. I like it. I like it a lot. I like that it's a normal. It's accessible to a wide variety of players. I accidentally skipped this card. Aroma Blend. Discard 1 card. Place 1 humid wind, dried winds, or blessed wind from your hand or deck face up in your spell and trap zone. That's really, really, really good. You can banish this card from your graveyard. Fusion summon from your extra deck by banishing its materials from your hand or field. It just says plant fusion. It doesn't say aroma. This is an amazing card. I'm so glad it's not a super rare. I like it so much. I would play 3 of it in a respective deck archetype. It's that good. Cursed Bride Doll is a powerful generic card, but it is not powerful in the competitive sense. It's just powerful, and if you're playing a 60 card deck and your opponent's playing a 40 card deck, You draw this card, immediate special summon. You can even normal summon it too. And then at the start of the battle phase, it gains 300 attack based off the difference of cards in your deck versus your opponent's. So if you're playing 60 and your opponent's playing 40, that's going to be what, 6,000 attack. Like, bruh. And then if it's in the graveyard during the end phase, you can put it at the top of the deck if you want. It's weird. It's a weird card. But dude, 6,000 attack out of nowhere. That's crazy, man. That's cool. Our Genx Turning is one of the best Genx tuner monsters in the game because it can count as a level 1, 2, 3, and it's a quick effect during your opponent's main phase. You synchro. Cool. It's a level 4. Defense is really high. 0 attack. Interesting stats. It could come in handy in certain strategies. The effect is not bad to bounce, and it's a free special. It's interesting. White Lord is the newest addition to the Skull Servant archetype, and it is a good one. So glad it's a normal. If it's in your hand or on your field, you can send it to the graveyard and then mill cards equal to the number of King of the Skull Servants or Skull Servants, and this counts as a Skull Servant in the graveyard from your deck to the graveyard, and then you can just banish this card from your graveyard and then special summon a Skull Servant or King of the Skull Servant. This card could even special summon itself, technically, if you have 2 copies. It's weird, it's cool, it mills. It makes the deck a little bit better. Aroma Mage healing is okay. You special summon a Aroma Mage from your graveyard, and if it's on the field, which you don't want it, you want it in the graveyard, you gain 1,000 life points. It's not a continuous trap, it's a normal trap. It's pretty meh. I hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to let me know your thoughts down below. My name is GigaChad, and I hope you have a great day or night. Maybe I'll catch you next time. Later.